All right, greetings everyone and welcome back to another great episode of Office Pro TV. I'm your host Daniel Lowry, and in today's episode we are continuing on with our Excel Essentials, Excel 2016 Essentials. I don't want to make you think that we are Excel 2003 or Excel 2010. No. This is the new hotness, Excel 2016. And joining us in the studio to help build our knowledge in that product, our good friend Ms. Vaughn Smith. Vaughn, glad to have you again. How's it going?
It's fantastic. The new hotness. I like that term.
That's how I roll.
I might start using that in my everyday terminology.
Thank you, Will Smith.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Men in Black. That's where I stole that from. I steal all my best lines.
He is a walking encyclopedia of movie references. It's crazy. So it's quite enjoyable. But yes, we're going to be talking about the Excel interface, the environment, whatever you want to call it. It's what we're looking at, so we need to get familiar with it. So when I say, hey, let's go ahead and insert a picture, you know that that's on the Insert tab of the ribbon. And when I say customizing the quick access bar, or let's go ahead and look at what the count is in our status bar, you're going to know what I'm talking about. Right now, it might be a little Greek right now, but I'm going to translate it into Excel. So
I like that.
Yeah, so we're going to go ahead and get started. I have a file that we're going to be using just to have just something to look at, really. We're not really going to be doing anything with the content, because that's going to be getting into when we do the Navigate A workbook and things like that. This is just the interface by itself. But we're going to go back into our Christmas cats example file that I have created for us. We've got our cute little cat down there, meow meow. So, and gotta make the sound effect. Sorry, I look over and Daniel's like,
can you actually put the sound effects in Excel? I'm wondering if you can.
You know, you just stumped me for a second.
Yeah.
I'm like, can we insert a sound file in here? You know, I'm sure we can.
Capstone project for the show. Right?
Yeah, right.
Every time you hover over a cat icon, it makes a meow noise.
Oh, you know we can make it happen.
I think we can
somehow.
Yeah.
Even if we have to get into some macro or something like that, or into VBA, we will make some sound effects. Not in this episode,
No,
but
this is more simplified things.
Yeah, maybe we'll do like a bonus episode.
Ooh.
Yeah, and like see if they people take notice of like, I'm gonna go find the sound one. And if I haven't made it, people are gonna like write in, where's the cat meow? I love it. Hey, hidden Easter egg right there.
Find the Easter egg.
Even though I'm telling you exactly where it's at.
It's in the series somewhere, but you don't know where yet.
Exactly. Find the meow.
That's right.
All right, so now we're just going to find the ribbon, first of all. So we went over in our the Excel basics. We talked about the title bar. So that is definitely part of our Excel interface and environment. So we know that we are using this particular file, so it's always good to consult the title bar. There's a couple other things over here that look like they're in the title bar, but they're kind of not. They're there, but they're not there. You know, such a profound statement right there. So this guy over here, this is the quick access bar, and we will talk about this particular toolbar in just a second. And then over here we have our minimize, maximize, or restore down and close. But then these other buttons, this is where it's telling us that I am logged into my Office 365 account as Justin Timberlake, because that is the account that I have. And then this button, this is something that we will go over when we get to the ribbon, whereas exactly where we're at now. It's right here. This whole big thing across the top of your environment is known as the ribbon. And these ribbons, or this ribbon, has tabs across them, such as the insert, the page layout, the formulas, date, no, that's not date, that's data, review, and view. So to get to a specific tab on the ribbon, you single click. Do not double click. I'll show you why in a second. But if I single click on formulas, you can see that I have all the different things that I would be doing for formulas and functions within Excel. This show does not cover anything about formula or functions. That's a whole separate show, so definitely go look in our course library for that. But these would be where we would find the different named function libraries such as text and logical. Coming over to page layout, this is where you can get into your margins and your page breaks, just like we have in Word. There's a page layout tab in Word, you have a page layout tab in Excel. But there's a few other things that it will have that are very Excel specific, such as like the grid lines and the headings that we'll get into. So you single click the different tabs on the ribbon to get to those different commands that are in groups. For example, on the Home tab, there is a group called Font. There is a group called Alignment, Number, so on and so forth. So, and that's one thing, like if you start reading or looking at different things on the internet about, hey, go into this particular, within this group, like, well, what's a group? Well, now you know. It's the bottom little group title on the group. Wow, using that circular reference again, you'll learn about
what's the group of the group with the group where they put things together like a group. That's what I mean.
Yes. Yes, and hopefully maybe you'll discover my little pun there of circular reference, because that's actually something in Excel that you do when you do a formula that basically references itself. Hey, I'm punny. Okay, so we've got all those different things here. Now on your groups, on your ribbon, sometimes you'll have this little button over in the bottom right-hand corner, which is the dialog box launcher button, which is way too long of a name.
Yeah, that's a heck of a title they got going on there.
Yeah, so I call it the More button because it takes you to more options. I sometimes call it the old school button because
this does look like an old school dialog box, yes.
Yeah, that you would get from the menus back in 2002 or
probably
before
even
that.
Before that, yeah.
Yeah, I think 2002 is the last version that they had where they had menus, because we talked about in our other episode. We're pretty sure it's 2003 when they started doing the ribbon. And then I'm pretty sure, because I'm like, I think that's how long ago it was. Whew. So we have all of these different options here in a dialog box, and then you can either hit the cancel or the X in that dialog box to get out of that. So those are the more buttons on the groups of your tabs of your ribbons. Wow, I followed that pretty good.
You did it.
Yes, I did it.
Kind of proud of you there, kid.
So I said single click on your tabs because double clicking does, well, something else. If I double click on another tab, click, click, well, now I'll click it there. Sometimes, like, what happens is I've just collapsed the ribbon. So double clicking on your tabs is like a shortcut to doing that. And I've had people do this and be like, I have no idea where all my buttons went. But then if it's kind of nice because it does give you a little bit more real estate is what you can see. But then you single click now. Do you see how it kind of hovers over it? And I single click it again and it kind of sucks it back up in there because I've collapsed the ribbon. Now, if you can double click to collapse it, you can double click it to expand it. So you can see when I double click it, it comes back out. Okay, cool. Well, I know that, but there's a couple other ways in which you can get to it. Remember I said there was this little button right here? Well, now we're at it. It's the Ribbon Display Options button. When I click on this, you can see, oh, there's that auto hide ribbon, show tabs, and commands. So there's different ones. So if I did the auto hide ribbon, like, see, it's completely gone. It's almost like you're in full screen mode. And it's kind of like, you do this, I think a lot of people do this when you're like watching videos, or like the little button on the bottom of your YouTube where it expands and shows full screen. It's pretty much the same thing.
Just getting some more real estate out of the thing.
Exactly. And then, oh, well, that's actually a virtual machine. That's not going to come up on your guys' stuff. But now that I have auto hide all that stuff, like, because I have other things that are auto hiding in my virtual machines and things like that. So you can see that if I click on this again, there's these little dots over on the right-hand side. I can bring this up, and then my button comes back up. And then when I have this button, I can say show tabs and commands, because I like to see all of my options at all times. So you can see the different options of the auto hide, the show tabs where we had done for the double clicking, and then the show tabs and commands that has everything there. And if you wanted yet another one, there's always like 15 different ways to do the same thing in these products. You can collapse the ribbon by that tiny little button over on the right-hand side, and then it collapses it back down. So any which way you want to get to, how you can control your ribbon, you now know where they're at.
I'm waiting for Microsoft to come out with an exam question where it says, with the most administrative effort. Because they always love the least administrative effort. Because there are 6 different ways in which you can do something. If you're just going to ask me about the easiest, why make the others?
Yeah, yeah, I know. But it's options.
It is options.
To each their own.
That are unnecessary. They're spending money. They're paying coders to write ways in which they don't want you to use.
Kind of like how you wrote your loan amortization in C.
Exactly.
It's in the other episode.
I wish Microsoft would have paid me to do that. It would be awesome.
All right. Now, along the same ribbon, there is the File tab, which really, it's also called the Backstage view. Again, if you're reading other books or tutorials that say, go to the Backstage view, you're like, where's that? It's the File menu. It's the thing that comes back into the behind the file almost. And this is where I've gotten people to where they get here and they're like, I've lost my file. I'm like, no, it's still there. That little button back there. And they've gotten better at making it more visual of like, hey, go back to where you were, and then I'm back into my workbook. I'm probably going to say document throughout this show because it's
not. It's a workbook.
Yeah, and I just finished filming Word for weeks on end.
So document is buried into your brain right now.
Yes, workbook. Okay, so if I go back over here, this is our Backstage view, and I have all of our different commands that are here. You can also hit the Escape key once you're in this Backstage view, because that will take you back into your file or your working area as well. But one more time back in there, just to point out our options. Just like in any Office product, there are options there that sometimes can get turned on and just give you all sorts of fits of like, why is this doing this? I don't know what I did.
Or turned off.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's probably going to be like in your advanced, it's going to be some weird thing that you've never even seen before of like, are you serious? Okay, well, that's what it was.
And then the description of it has nothing to do with what you're actually experiencing. That's my favorite.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Those are really, really fun. So you can, like, after pressing Enter, move selection down. Well, that's been the way Excel has worked for me, the beginning of time. Well, for some reason, if that was like, okay, then it goes to up or to the right, it's like, what?
They're giving you options, Vaughn.
Exactly. Come right back around.
Touché.
All right. So just wanted to point that out of where your Excel options are. Very important to go through. All right. On our ribbon, there will be sometimes you're going to get what are known as contextual tabs. Contextual tabs are tabs in the ribbon that only show up when you're selected on a particular item, such as this cute, adorable little cat. If I click on it, notice that I get a Format tab on the ribbon, which I had not had before, but that's because it is now, as I've selected this item, it's given me that option, because this is my format for my graphics tools. This is an icon, and so that's why we have that particular one. If I click off of it, then the tab goes away. So those will come up as we start going through different things that we can add within our Excel workbook. I did it right. Some other things that are in this environment that are very Excel specific, like you're not going to find this in Word or PowerPoint, is this guy right across the top. This is the formula bar. Now, the formula bar is where you're going to be seeing the information of what's in the particular cell. This could be, now it says formula bar. Now, why does it say formula bar? I'm going to give you a quick example. So if I click right here, notice that that does not say $140.13. Now, does it, Daniel?
No.
No. It says, I have no idea what that says. That's the formula.
That's the formula bar. It says some weird stuff. I assume there's some sort of adding occurring.
You are correct. Yes, that is adding up the cell references of B6 through B9.
I came up with a new term. I hypothesome. That's me. That's a D. Lowry.
Oh,
right
I love it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's almost like a Vaughnism.
I know. It's great stuff.
Awesome. You've been working with me too much, haven't you? So you can see that the formula bar is where you're going to display the particular information. This does say Christmas Cats weekly sales. Now we're going to get into selecting selecting information and everything, but right now we're just kind of going over the environment, so I wanted to show you what the formula bar does and where it's at. You will also have this over here, which is the name box. The name box is going to give you the name of the cell, or what's also known as the cell reference, as to where you are. For example, if I click out here, it tells me that I'm on cell L5. I know that because of the name box. Now there's a drop down next to here. I'm going to drop this down. Now you might not ever see like named values within here. That's because if you don't see them, you don't have what are known as named ranges. You can name ranges of cells and use them for navigating to specific areas. Like if I go to daily totals versus addresses, you see, it even jumped me all the way over to another place in my workbook. So that's a really handy way to start navigating. How do you make them? I'll show you in another episode, but just right now, this is our environment of this is the name box. So that is its real name. That's its actual name, not a Vaughnism of where I made it up. All right, what else do we have? We have, the quick access toolbar, which is all the way up here. The quick access toolbar is where you can put commands so you can quickly access them. Because if I wanted to go over to insert image, I'd have to go over to the insert tab, go over to illustrations, and then drop this down to get into insert pictures. But if it's something that I'm going to be using all the time, I don't want to have to remember, go to the review tab, go over to spell check, go back over to home. I have to get to all these different places. Just add them up there. The quick access toolbar doesn't change. That will always stay up no matter where you are on the ribbon, so you can go ahead and start loading your commands in there. Now, I only have the save, the undo, and the redo are very best friends, and then I have the customize or the drop down next to it that allows me to customize the quick access toolbar.
Well, how many quick access options can we have in our quick access toolbar?
You know, as soon as you say that, I want to say it's 255.
That's a lot.
It is. Well, funny you mention that, because I actually have a Excel specification and limits.
Okay.
So, and this is where when we're going to get into selecting information or navigating, like how many the workbook, your worksheet has 1,048,576 rows and 16,384 columns.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. Yeah, so I'm going down here. I bet you there's something in here that will tell me the number of quick access toolbar. So if I'm going to actually just do it quick access. Will it let me? Okay.
1 of 1.
No.
Made you a liar.
Yeah, it did. All right. So I'm going to go with I don't know.
Yeah.
Probably as much as your real estate will allow you.
That's what I would think.
We'll go with that.
Yeah.
So, so you can see that if I go over here to, there's spelling right here in the most commonly used ones. All right, that's pretty neat. And then I could do like a print preview, so I can go ahead and do that instead of doing Control P, so on and so forth. But there is no insert image in here. So if I want to get into commands that are not just right in this area, I can go to More Commands and then come into my Excel options, which is another place of where you can get to. And then you have to find where that command is located. Well, I know the insert image is on the Insert tab. So going up here on the left-hand side of choosing from the specific area where that command is, and then finding it within that space, that's where I could find there is insert image somewhere in here. We're going to go with insert icons because that's what I can see right now. So you can see I can add that on over there. So
there's insert picture. It's like 3 down.
3 down. Oh, thank you. You know, I kept saying image.
Yes.
It was picture. That's why I couldn't find it. All right, perfect. So now I have icons and images. Pictures right here on the quick access toolbar.
They're called synonyms. It's fun.
They are. Oh, there goes that English language again.
It's like when I jumped into a Mac and I started using a Mac, I kept looking for certain things like file delete. Not in a Mac. You can't right click and look for delete. It's moved to trash. To this day, I've been using a Mac for almost 3 years now. To this day, I look for right click, delete. It's not there. I have to go, it's moved to trash, you moron.
Yeah, I know, especially with us having to go back and forth with all of our operating systems. And you throw in Linux on there on top of it, I don't know. All right. Now, this is in that drop down, but do you see where it says Show Quick Access Toolbar below the ribbon? Let's check that off. And I wonder what that's going to do. It's going to show it below the ribbon. It's a little bit closer. So if you want, and that's where how many you want or how many can you have, it's probably up until you can see it. Maybe it goes into 2. I have never.
Yeah, sometimes when you get to the edge of the screen or whatever, they'll give you a little drop down so you can, they'll just hide what can't be shown and what real estate you have available to you. So maybe that's what it would do. We would have to test those waters to find out. Yeah. Feel free.
Yeah, and it's like it might take us quite a while to get there. So we're going to go with that. So perfect. One quick one I wanted to show you was this touch mouse mode. If you're on a Windows operating, or really just a computer that allows for touchscreens, right? This is kind of an interesting one here because right now it is in mouse mode to where everything, because on a mouse you have a lot more control, if you want to say, because it's just one little pointer clicking on the buttons. But on a touchscreen, especially if you've got bigger fingers, you hit one and it hits like 3 different buttons at the same time. If you go to touch mode, you see how everything gets a lot bigger on the ribbon? I thought that one's pretty cool. So if I go back to mouse, you see how everything gets a lot smaller. So it's just one of those features that if you are, like I said, on a touch monitor, it might be better to throw that in there on the quick access toolbar and changing your options there. So kind of fun stuff. Another thing, I just kind of threw something in. Your ribbon is dynamic in the sense that depending on your real estate, it changes. For example, watch. When I restore down here, do you see it? Now that's really big. Do you see how everything kind of like squishes? Yeah, perfect. Yep, you have been with me too long. So, but you see, as I start making it more, then I have the different, like, okay, see where it says cells right there? If I move that out, that starts to actually show me like the insert, delete, and format, and so on and so forth.
So it scales according to what size you give it.
Yeah, to whatever your monitor resolution is or the size of your monitor, both of them. So that's where yours might look a little different than mine. You might not have the words next to wrap text. You might just have the icon, or maybe you have even more stuff. You can see a whole bunch of the cell styles because your monitor and screen resolution allows that. So just wanted to throw that in. All right, last few things that we have in our environment. We've gone up on the top. Let's go down to the bottom. Down here, all the way down here, this is where we have our status bar. The status bar gives us the status of what we're looking at. Now, if I'm out here in nothing, that's just going to, see there's nothing really across here. It just says ready and so on and so forth. And on that status bar, you also have these buttons over on the right, which will change your views. I'm not going to click them right now. There's a specific reason why not, but you'll get to that when we get into our navigating within a document. And our zoom over here. But the status bar doesn't really show much, but unless I actually click on something. Like, for example, let me show you if we go to our weekly totals. Now, notice here, no, that's the wrong one. How about we go with daily totals? There we go. You see down at the bottom, I have some pretty cool things that happens. When I'm selecting ranges of cells, it will give me a quick status of, and also some of these basic functions that you can have in Excel. Functions, formulas, pretty much the same thing. So functions are formulas, formulas are functions. The average of our daily totals, the count, the sum of everything. So there's some pretty neat things that you can do really quickly by just showing, by just like looking down at the status bar. For example, if I selected, say like this right here, notice over here it says count of 8. Now it's not doing a sum because it's seeing that this is actual text and you can't really add text together. So I like the status bar. It shows me a couple neat things that are down in there. Now you can always customize the status bar if you wanted to. If you right click anywhere in the status bar, you have like all the different things that it will allow or be able to show you on that status bar. So if you didn't like it doing the sum in the status bar, you can turn that off. So you can check off on or off the different things that you want to have in that status bar. And so that's kind of a fun little thing. And the status bar, this is the same in all of your other Office programs. Like in Word, it showed us like the word count and our sections. And I was like, always look at the status bar. I'm going to say the same thing in Excel. Always look at your status bar because it'll give you the status of what you're doing. Oh, goodness. All right.
Man, I hope you read a dictionary one day. It's going to be awesome.
I know. My husband always kind of just looks at me. He's like, that is such a profound statement. I'm like, oh, stop it. And he just smirks. I'm like, yeah, I know. He's like,
smart aleck.
He is. He's ridiculous. So, now, the last other things in our environment, we have our help, which is, it doesn't say help anymore. It just says, tell me what you want to do. That's your help menu. So if I type in like status bar and then hit enter, it will go, that's the zoom. That's not what I wanted. Okay, well, anyways, you could go into, try insert a table. Okay, from table. And it's going to take me to, well,
the spinning blue Cheerio.
Spinning okay.
There we go.
Well, you know what? That's not really helpful. It's not telling me anything about how to actually do a table. So that's okay. If it doesn't do that, you can always go out to the Microsoft Help Online, and that's where you can really find some good stuff in there. And so that's about everything that I think I can cover in the Excel environment. We've got our ribbon, status bar, insert bar, everything's ready to go.
All right, well, Vaughn, that's a really good look at the navigationing around inside of Excel. That's right, I've been listening to Vaughn for far too long.
I love it.
So follow us, just come with us, fall down the rabbit hole with us. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Thanks for watching so much, though. It does look like it is time for us to sign off. For Office Pro TV, I've been your host, Daniel Lowry.
And I'm Vaughn Smith.
We'll see you next time.